It's 2 in the morning and something outside is going through your trash. You already know what it is. Little hands, a striped tail, a face like a tiny bandit that has done this 100 times before. You bang on the glass. It looks up at you, holds your eyes for a second, completely unbothered, and goes right back to work. You call it a pest. A scientist, watching the same window, might call it something stranger. The first page of the next dog. Because right now, tonight, with nobody in charge of it and no plan behind it, one animal is doing the exact thing a wolf did the first time it crept toward a human fire. So here's the question that should keep you up. Which animal are humans about to domesticate next? Or did we already grab everything worth having thousands of years ago, and the story's over? Start with the one already halfway across the line. That raccoon at your window. And to see what it's really doing, you need one distinction, because almost everyone gets it wrong. Taming is not domestication. Taming is a single animal, in a single lifetime, deciding you're tolerable. A tiger raised on a bottle can be tame and still open your throat on a bad day. Domestication is bigger and slower. It's an entire species rewiring its own genes over hundreds of generations until being near us isn't a choice anymore. It's baked in. One is a truce. The other is written into the blood. And the raccoon is drifting toward the second one on its own. Nobody bred it. Nobody chose it. When we built cities, we accidentally built raccoon paradise. Endless food, no wolves, warm, dry places to sleep. And the raccoons that inherited that paradise weren't the biggest or the fastest. They were the boldest, the ones that flinched the least at the sight of you. In 2017, researchers at the University of Wyoming ran wild raccoons through a gauntlet of puzzle boxes and clever traps, and watched them problem solve at a level that embarrassed some primates. Some scientists now think city raccoons are showing the first faint physical cracks of domestication. Snouts a little shorter, ears a little softer. That part's still an argument, not a fact. But an argument is how every one of these stories begins. Because we have seen this exact movie before. The cat. In 2007, a genetic study in the journal Science followed every house cat on Earth back to a single wildcat in the Near East that wandered into human grain stores around 10,000 years ago. Nobody invented the cat. No breeder, no plan, no project. Mice came for the grain. Wildcats came for the mice. The boldest ones stayed. We didn't domesticate the cat. The cat looked at us, decided we were useful, and moved in. Now hold a name in your head. 1926. A live raccoon is shipped to the White House to be the main course at President Coolidge's Thanksgiving dinner. She never reaches the plate. The family takes one look and can't do it. They name her Rebecca. They put her on a leash and walk her across the south lawn like a dog. One raccoon, a few days, dinner to family. That line, wild to pet, is so much thinner than you think. So if it's this obvious, why does nearly every expert, asked point blank, still bet on the fox? One experiment. 1959. A Soviet geneticist named Dmitri Belyaev walks onto a Siberian fur farm and throws out every rule but one. He doesn't care about size. He doesn't care about coat. He doesn't care about brains. He cares about one thing only. Does the fox lean toward the human hand or shrink from it? He breeds the ones that lean in. Only those. Again. And again. And again. And, within a few decades, animals he never touched for their looks start to change anyway. Ears go floppy. Tails curl up. Coats crack open into patches of white. They wag. They whine for attention. And they make a sound no wild fox has ever made. A soft, breathy chuckle. Almost a laugh, that comes out only when they're happy next to a person. Belyaev selected for one thing. Everything else arrived for free. And for years, nobody could explain why calm would drag floppy ears in behind it. The answer came in 2014, from a team including Harvard's Richard Wrangham, and it's quietly one of the eeriest facts in biology. Deep in every embryo sits a cluster called the neural crest. The same cells that build the brain's fear circuits also build the cartilage of the ears and the snout. So when you dial down the fear, you dial down the very cells that shape the face. Calm and cute run off the same knob. Turn one, you turn both. Friendliness, it turns out, has a look. That's why a tame fox slowly becomes something you want to touch. One of the first all the way across was a fox named Pushinka. She'd seek out her person, sleep in the house, bark at a stranger at the gate like she'd been a dog her whole life. A friend, built out of a fur animal, inside a single human lifetime. So the fox is the textbook answer. But feel the catch under it. The fox needed us. It needed a scientist, a farm, a plan, decades of deliberate choosing. The raccoon needs none of that. It's running the same program in your alley tonight, with nobody at the controls. That's the real turn in this story. It's not that we choose the next animal. It's that the next animal is already choosing us. And it never asked. Ask the internet, and 100 names come flooding back. Crows that memorize your face and hold the grudge for years, teaching it to their chicks. Cheetahs, so gentle Egyptian royalty, walked them on leashes 3,000 years ago. Everyone has a case. Everyone is missing a single piece. Crows won't breed for us. Cheetahs barely breed at all behind glass. Close, but not yet. The door's open. Nothing's walked all the way through. And here's where the skeptic finally clears their throat. None of this is domestication, they say. A raccoon in your bin isn't becoming a pet. It's a wild animal working a free lunch, and the second the food's gone, so is it. And honestly, that's fair. Most of these creatures are just opportunists in a costume. Except that is the precise word we'd have used for the cat 10,000 years ago. A wild thing loitering by the granary for an easy meal. We'd have been completely right, and completely blind to where it was headed. The truth is, the line between wild and pet was never a wall. It's fog. And we are catastrophically bad at knowing when an animal has stepped through it. In 2024, a squirrel named Peanut, hand-raised for 7 years by a man in New York, watched by millions online, was seized by state officials and put down, because on paper he was still wildlife. 7 years sleeping in a human bed. The paperwork said wild. The bed said otherwise. And nobody in charge could tell you which one he really was. That's the honest wall we hit. We can watch the behavior. We can count the raccoons pouring into the cities, measure the fox's ears, chart the whole slow drift year by year. What we cannot do is climb inside the animal and ask whether it's choosing us, the way you choose. Does the thing at your window feel anything like the pull the first wolf felt toward the first flame? Or is it only hunger, wearing the face of affection? We don't know. We might never know. But maybe we've been asking the small version of this question the entire time. Not which animal we'll tame next, but what taming even is, and what it's been quietly doing, for a very long time, to the one animal nobody ever thinks to check. Because there is a species that got gentler over time, whose face softened, generation after generation, whose heavy brow and thick jaw melted into something rounder, smoother, almost childlike, whose aggression toward its own kind dropped so far it could suddenly pack shoulder to shoulder with 10,000 strangers in a city, and mostly, astonishingly, not kill them. That species is you. Anthropologists like Wrangham argue that across the last 100,000 years, humans domesticated themselves. That we bred our own wildness down exactly the way Belyaev bred the fox, favoring the calm, culling the violent, and softening our own skulls in the bargain. The same rounded features, the same lowered aggression, the same signature, in the same bone. So, look at us from the outside, just once. From orbit, from an alien's field notes, we don't read as the tamers. We read as the most thoroughly domesticated animal on the planet. One that got so good at taming itself it turned around and started doing it to everything else in reach. So the next time something rattles your trash at 2 in the morning and that little masked face lifts up to decide whether you're worth the risk, see what you're actually looking at. Not a pest at the glass. The opening page of the same story that built your dog. Your cat. And a long, long time ago, you. We were never only the ones doing the taming. We were the first thing tamed.